we need to concentrate on faith, the repentance, baptism.
You are listening to Saints in the South.
Welcome, everyone. This is season 2, episode 94. We are Saints in the South, representing saints everywhere, and we are your source for gospel growth and good times. Whether you're watching on YouTube or listening on your favorite podcast platform, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, all at Saints in the South. And yes, your eyes are not deceiving you. We do have Uncle
really
Andrew
here.
back in the house.
He's really here.
That's right.
We finally
Good
kidnapped
to be
him.
back. Good to be back.
Brought him back over here.
A little wiser,
Yeah, a little wiser. I
a
like
little
that.
heavier, a little grayer.
That new job's been good to you.
Nah, seriously though, yeah. There's actually been people asking where Uncle Andrew's been.
Yep.
So
I got lost on those dirt roads again.
yeah, back to dirt road.
Right.
Been looking for a sock.
It's kind of like Joseph Smith getting out of Liberty here. You're back. You're back with the Saints.
Yep, very good. Well, hey, so this week we are in section 124, and the title is "A House Unto My Name." And to kind of bring back some tradition, we'll go ahead and let Uncle Andrew give us some background and some historical setting, and then kick this thing off.
I got chills.
Got chills. So we know Joseph escaped Liberty,
Right.
and he, because of Missouri, the order, all Mormons had to leave. They had to get on out of Missouri. So they ended up in Nauvoo, but there was that little safe haven, that little safe, cool little place that we don't talk much about, but means so much. Even President Hinckley, when he dedicated the Nauvoo temple, he even mentioned it during that day. But anyways, Quincy, Illinois. Emma, a lot of them went to Quincy, and Quincy was a population of about 1,500 people. And all of a sudden, 5,000 Mormons showed up. And you got to remember, Mormons were not popular during this time.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
And they had to have heard something about it. They weren't very
for
far
sure.
away. So they probably knew some of the,
Yeah, I'm sure they
maybe some of the
newspapers and
rumors or
stuff.
things
That's
that were
right.
kind of, yeah.
Absolutely.
So they got kicked out. Quincy was kind of winter time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And again, 1,500 people, and they accepted the 5,000 to 6,000 Mormons that showed up. And then, so, you know, when Joseph and Hiram and all them escaped Liberty, they went to Quincy.
Yeah.
And then we transitioned to Nauvoo, which was commerce, I think, and it ended up being a swamp, which we'll talk today. But a cool thing about Quincy is President Hinckley, again, when he dedicated the Nauvoo temple back in June of 2002, he paid tribute to Quincy. He actually, the Mormon Tabernacle Choir came and actually went to this little town. They sung, sold out the little theater they had. About 2,200 people sold it out.
Wow.
And then the proceeds or whatever that they got was like $75,000.
Wow.
And President Hinckley donated that $75,000 to the mayor.
Wow.
And the mayor was
I remember that, yeah.
It was super cool.
That's so cool.
Again, out of all the things that President Hinckley talked about the day of the dedication of Nauvoo, he brought up Quincy, just how important that, you know, Mormons were refugees.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
You know, they were literally refugees.
Yeah.
And no one wanted them.
Yeah.
But this little old sweet town of Quincy accepted them and housed them and gave them food. So again, a super cool memory in LDS church
awesome.
history that you know, gratitude and just giving thanks to Quincy. And again, you know, leaving all of us has had our Liberty days, Liberty jail days. And but now they're transitioning to a Nauvoo, you know.
Yeah.
So that's what we'll learn today in DNC 124, which is the longest section of the Doctrine and Covenants.
124 is the longest section.
Longest section. I guess that's why I showed up for the longest section.
Yeah,
right?
we needed you here for the longest. One of the things that come to my mind as you're speaking about Quincy is that sometimes the Lord, I think most times the Lord blesses us in the most unusual ways. I don't think we could. I've noticed in my life when things have happened or whatever it is that are like great blessed that I see and like, wow, the Lord's really helped me. It's always in the most unusual ways that I couldn't even have imagined that's how that would have worked out. It's like, I guess what I'm saying is I know the Lord will help me, And I even try to play in my mind like how it could work out, but it's always something that just is like, wow, I didn't know it would be that way. That's totally wasn't on my radar. And so for this little town, a nearby town that's going to accept them, I'm sure Joseph would have been like, that's not going to happen. We're not accepted anywhere. Everywhere we've been rejected. But no, here's Quincy, Illinois. And it's like, whoa, that was pretty cool. Wow, Lord, didn't see that one coming. So I think the Lord does bless us in ways we don't even, we can't even imagine sometimes. It's like, wow, I did not realize that would happen.
All right.
So
it's got to truck along, and
you just keep pushing forward and trusting in the Lord, and you'll find some amazing miracles, that happen. So Quincy's one of those miracles.
Yeah. So, talking about kind of transitioning into Nauvoo and everything. We talked on the last podcast about how Joseph was able to give the leaders outside of the Liberty Jail instructions on finding land, purchasing land, and so forth. It says by the summer of 1839, they had purchased the area of commerce in Hancock County, Illinois, an extensive tracts of land across the river in Iowa Territory. And Commerce was selected as the new gathering place, and the Saints quickly renamed their new city Nauvoo.
Yeah, which means beautiful.
Beautiful. That's
beautiful
right.
In Hebrew.
It's a Hebrew word.
Yeah.
And it was and that's an interesting name because it was really a swampy area, right?
Yeah, that's part of the reason why they got it so cheap.
It was an Okefenokee.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
It was an Okefenokee.
That's right. That's right.
Okefenokee Swamp.
And Andrew likes to talk about. So I actually live out here on some low land, right? And I've got a swamp right out back. Matter of fact, my wife didn't believe me one day soon after we moved out here, and I said, she's like, where are the kids? I said, they're down there playing near the swamp. And so she always thought just got like a little creek or something. She went down there one day. She's like, it's a swamp down here. What do you mean our kids are out here playing and stuff? So
they're out here riding alligators.
That's right. But I've actually installed some trenching system and stuff that helps the water drain off really good. And so Andrew always brings up Nauvoo.
Yeah, man. I mean, all gorgeous place now, man.
Yeah, it looks good out here.
Yeah. I'm gonna rename this place Nauvoo.
Yeah. Nauvoo too.
Nauvoo too. Nauvoo.
Yeah. So Nauvoo's again, we got super confident Joseph now. We got to remember, back when he was, with the translation of the Book of Mormon, Harmony, he was learning to be a prophet, going through some trials and obstacles, liberty. I mean, he pushed through that.
Right. Yeah, he's been solidified as a. I mean, if he hadn't before, he's been forged into a jam up, ready to go.
Yeah, he's been prepared.
Nothing can stand in our way.
Yeah,
I mean, whether he dies or I'm not saying he thinks he's invincible now, but what I'm getting to is he knows this is going forward.
Right.
And he's had a lot of followers. I say followers, not necessarily follower of him, but follower of the restored gospel.
Right.
And Nauvoo is a great evidence of that.
Right.
Confident. He's very confident.
So much so, not only does he get revelation to build a house of the Lord, but we're building another house for him.
Yeah.
And others to
stay in community, man.
I thought that was interesting. Kind of funny that, we're going to build the house of the Lord, but we're also, which is actually, I mean, the intent of the other house. What was the name of what they call it?
Nauvoo house.
Yeah. The Nauvoo house. It was for travelers to be able to come in.
Yeah. Travelers would come and, yeah. So
and cool side note, Brigham Young also created another type house like that in Salt Lake City way later.
That's right. Yes, right.
He created a place where people could come and be entertained and stay, and it's a smart move. You look at it and go, well, why would they do this? I think in my mind, this is what I got from it, and I'm sure there's far more than this, but what I was thinking of was, they were trying to be as welcoming to others as they could be, and to show that, hey, we don't hate people. We're not trying to overrun the land and become a all powerful entity here, trying to move everybody. We want to show that we want to be neighbor. We want to be neighborly. We want to be good. We want to bring goodness to the area. Yeah. And so I think that's what this was for.
Yeah. And so, and up to this point, they've always moved into other the cities that are already established, right?
Yeah.
So now they said, okay, we're going to build our own city.
Yeah. Which Chicago was the biggest city in Illinois. And when Nauvoo started kicking up, it was number 2 and was starting. People were
So it was going to
worried.
surpass it.
Yeah, people was like, dang,
Probably
on
would have.
Nauvoo, you know.
Probably would have surpassed it if it hadn't been at that time.
Yeah,
if
and
it hadn't been for, you know.
And out of all the historical sites, you know, if you go to Palmyra, Kirtland, Harmony, Nauvoo, that's by far the biggest. A lot of the brick homes are up.
Yeah.
It's
And it's still a beautiful place.
Oh, super beautiful.
Yeah.
It's super beautiful. And it's definitely it's definitely still a city. I mean,
Well,
a lot of those.
I don't know how
houses
many.
are
I
up.
don't know how many keep up with the church news and things, but you know, the Mesa, Arizona temple has been renovated.
Yeah.
And then they showed where did you see the part where they took the down, like near the temple, that block that was completely just
it
looked
renovated.
terrible. It was all kind of run down, etc. And they took it, and the church purchased all that and built it up into these condos, and it all of a sudden it just transformed and just lifted the whole city. Look at everywhere a temple's been built and tell me that part of the city has not been I'm talking about economically, aesthetically. I mean, all these things. And it's just, it does that. And why? It's not because Mormons have come in. This is the Lord's church. Anywhere that the Lord establishes his house, everything around it's going to be increased and beautified and uplifted.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's what happens. So it's the same with our temples, our bodies. When we uplift ourselves and make ourselves sacred, we uplift those that are around us, or we should,
Right.
if we're truly doing that. So it's a pretty cool thing there. So
Dr. Covenant's 124 could be overwhelming. It's definitely the longest section.
There's a lot of stuff in there.
Everyone can divide it into how many sections they want, groups, departments, in that big section. But one thing as I was reading and getting some notes was 4 sections, the threefold, the 3 works: proclaim the gospel, perfect the saints, and redeem the dead. Because baptism for the dead starts talking.
Right.
We're introduced to that. And number 4, Nauvoo house.
Yeah.
So, if we get our little cutter pens and
start checking off.
Nauvoo house, proclaim the gospel, redeem the dead, and perfect the saints. So if you look at it kind of that, it's break it in, break it up. So this big old one section of
that's true.
Nauvoo house, Jackson house, Marcus house,
The podcast house.
the Georgia room. What's it called now? It's still Georgia room. What?
I don't know.
I mean, I know
Georgia Lounge now.
Well, we got it. We actually called this the game room.
Game room. Okay.
And once
I
again,
mean, it starts from GA, right?
And look, let me say this. And once again, let me just go ahead and throw out, this. Every time I look up and it looks like I'm crazy because I'm looking at there's a huge screen that shows us. So I see the camera. So I'm looking at you guys now, but most of the time I'm like this.
That's right.
And so y'all probably like, why is he staring at the wall? It's like, what's going on?
Much like the temple, we spare no expense.
No expenses have been spared. One day we'll just have to give a tour of the room. We'll have to turn around and show what we're seeing.
Hey,
we even got the LED lights going on now.
We got
virtual tour.
That was for Andrew. Andrew coming. This is the first time we've had the LED lights on. Well, last episode, which was about 30 minutes ago.
Yeah. Hey, don't give away our podcast magic. We got different shirts on. All right. Anyway,
we digress.
So Nauvoo, definitely. As you mentioned, they in the past they went into other towns of populated people. In Nauvoo, they built up, and to begin with. Old swamp town. They had to build the trenches. A lot of people started getting sick. What was that? At the time, they didn't have a name for it. What's it called? Not
malaria.
Yeah, malaria.
Was it malaria?
Yeah,
I'm not sure. Yeah.
And Joseph one day he was sick and basically got the green light to go heal. I don't know if y'all have heard the story. Go heal the people. And he gets up and starts healing people.
Wow.
In the past, you've probably seen some church videos of him, healing that. That's where it was at.
Yeah, while he's sick.
He's sick.
Yeah.
People started getting better and better and better. And it was actually really cool because the work of the Lord had to hurry up and get.
I was fixing to say that's the word I was looking for, urgency. There was a sense of urgency when they got to Nauvoo.
Yeah.
And the urgency was this: get that temple built because I need to get these ordinances done. Now we had Kirtland.
Yeah.
Kirtland Temple was built, but that temple was built for very specific reasons. So the Lord could show up there,
Yeah,
and restore keys.
And restore keys. That's
Exactly.
basically what that was for.
Moses, Elijah.
So now we've got Nauvoo, which is
Yeah.
where they want to do endowments for the people. The Lord had to get these endowments done for these people, empower them, give them what they need to basically make the
trek out west, right?
Well, that and just be ready for anything. I mean, to have that power that they need. But and so there is a sense of urgency. We see that today in the church. President Nelson's even said that the church is moving forward even more and more rapidly every day. And so there's more urgency to get everything prepared for what's coming. The second coming of the Lord obviously is the main thing. But so there was a sense of urgency there, as you were saying, to get this temple built and let's go, let's move, And so you talking about getting everybody healed from malaria and stuff. We don't have time for that almost is what it probably felt like. It's like, hey, we can't have time. We just get out there and heal everybody. Let's go. Let's get moving. We need to get building and get going. So
tons of stories, tons of accounts of it happening, miracles. It was again, I'm a believer. I'm a strong believer of faith. We don't concentrate so much on this is my personal opinion. My personal opinion. We concentrate. I feel like that as a whole, as a community, as children of God,
right.
We need to concentrate on faith, the repentance, baptism. If we again, there's so many accounts in church history of miracles.
Oh yeah,
blessings, and yes, we talk about them. But I mean, so years ago, I used to think, why ain't there books of so and so getting blessed and all the time? But I don't know what I'm trying to say. Basically,
well, they're sacred.
They're sacred, yeah. Sacred.
But I think also getting back, I think this is what I feel.
Yeah.
I see that you're saying is that the testimonies and everything isn't built off of those individual miracles and everything that are
for sure.
All of that can be faith promoting.
Yeah,
it does. That's not going to secure your foundation in Christ and your faith in Christ and everything.
Yeah. Thank you. So that's what I was. Again, you can get two people. We get a Jackson and a Marcus knowing the same.
Yeah.
Having the same experiences or same moments. When I say same moments, seeing the same thing, knowing the same church history facts. Right. Reading section 124, but it's not a determinant if it's true to you or not. It's up to you to choose to believe or not.
Right.
No, a glass is either half empty or half full. You determine which one it is.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Right. So
makes sense.
Yeah. So
depending on what day it is.
yeah.
What's going on?
What situation am I in? But yeah, I mean, that's
like Liberty Jail. That glass is half empty.
that glass half empty for me. Yeah, that one would be Quincy, maybe half full. So.
Nauvoo,
fill
it up.
Overflowing.
but again, the reason I bring all that up because I'm like, why ain't there? Why don't we talk more? Why is it about the healings and it is mentioned, but.
What's that book you got there? Show that book in case somebody wants to.
So it's Quincy, Illinois.
The Quincy Miracle.
Yeah, the Quincy Miracle, Rescue Never to Be Forgotten.
Who's that written by? Or does it say?
It's
it just sort of a compilation, probably.
Yeah, a lot of people. Susan Easton Black. I tell you, someone that a lot of people probably knows Glenn Rawson off the history of the Saints.
Okay,
but
that's
a super
cool. I didn't know
book.
That book was even.
Yeah, super Quincy, Illinois, a rescue mission, and again, this was the transition of Missouri to Nauvoo, and again, super cool,
super cool,
just super cool, man. What's up?
Cool. What do you want me to say? It's Quincy.
It's super cool.
That's like I like it.
Pick it up today.
Yeah.
So
go ahead.
So in Nauvoo again, baptism for the dead gets introduced.
Yeah. So
right?
if I'm reading this, I'm like, okay, so that was just kind of like out of nowhere, right? So, I mean, he starts talking about you can't do baptisms. You can do baptisms for the dead, outside of the temple until we get this thing built.
Yeah,
and it's the very first mention that we've ever seen of baptisms for the dead, right?
Yeah, he gave a funeral talk, Seymour Brunson, and he was giving a sermon, and that's when it was introduced.
Right.
Okay.
And they went and did some outside the temple. They did
in the Mississippi River.
That's right. Which
where
is
they
right
did
there
'em.
by the Nauvoo.
That's where they did them. And the thing is, the Lord. So there's some weird. As I read this, there was some. I actually couldn't. I was not getting what they were saying. Like in verse 32, it says, "If you do not these things at the end of the appointment, ye shall be rejected as a church with your dead, saith the Lord." Saying that they won't be accepted or they will be accepted, and all these things about baptism. I was thinking, what is he talking about? But he's talking about when they were doing the baptisms for the dead in the Mississippi River. In other words, do them in the river. It's fine. But as soon as that temple's built, that's it.
That's right.
You do it in the temple only.
Right.
So, you know what I'm saying? So that's what he was saying.
That's right.
It makes sense. That makes sense now.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying.
Urgency, like you said, he was, let's hurry up and get this done.
That shows the importance of baptism for the dead. It shows the importance of temple work for our deceased.
Yeah.
The Lord was willing to say, hey, that's what happened at the end of that funeral for who you said Seymour Brunson. In the talk that Joseph Smith gave at his funeral, he mentioned that about baptism for the dead. Well, it was almost immediately after that funeral that people started going out and basically, let's start baptizing for our deceased.
That's right. My grandpa, he died last year. Let's go baptize him.
That's exactly what they did. And another little side note, a lot of people may or may not know is that women could be baptized for men could be baptized for women.
So it was just
disorganized.
I'll be honest.
It's a free for all.
It was a little bit.
They got happy.
But the cool thing is the Lord said he accepted it. He accepted all of that. Everything was done by the priesthood. Obviously, it wasn't done by the priesthood or anything, but it was just what I'm getting to is, it
was a line
upon lady could be baptized for her deceased father.
Yeah. It was line upon line, precept upon precept.
Right.
They got happy quick. But again,
and it was accepted, but the Lord was saying, hey, as soon as the temple's built, though, you do it in there.
Right.
Yeah. That's where the only place that'll be done. You can't do that just anywhere outside. And to this day, you cannot. The only place you do baptisms for the dead is in the. So interesting that he says this. I mean, think about this for a second. He says in verse, talking about this baptism for the dead, he says in verse 28, for there is not a place found on the earth that he may come to and restore again that which was lost unto you. For a baptismal font, and this is verse 29, there is not upon the earth. We remember that the Kirtland Temple was built, and we just mentioned that, but it did not have a baptismal font in it. That temple was really built mainly just for the Lord to return and restore keys. That's really what that was done for. So here's the Nauvoo Temple. It's a whole new thing. We're going to have a baptismal font. We're going to do work for the dead now, like full on, and get your own endowments. And here we go. And so I love the fact that he says there's not a place found on earth that is basically holy, is what he says. And I can't find that verse. I thought I had it right here somewhere. But the thing is about it is that the Kirtland Temple, you got to think at this time, is no longer holy. It's there. It's around, but it's not holy anymore.
Right.
It was defiled and they had to leave it. So it's just interesting that he's saying that there's not a place found on earth right now, and you think, wait a minute, Kirtland Temple, they already built that, but it's not holy anymore. It's just a building now. I mean, it's just whatever it is. So I thought it was pretty cool. But this was a sense of urgency. This was, hey, let's get this thing built and let's get some work done, because this has been, you got to break it down. I mean, these are all such cool stories, and these are all the things that they're going through, trying to get the ultimate goal done, which is their salvation. Work for the dead, like you mentioned, the threefold mission of the church: perfecting saints, redeeming the dead, proclaiming the gospel, obviously, is going on. So that's what's happening underlying all these crazy things that are going on, what we consider crazy. But
so let me ask you this: they got both of them going up at the same time, right?
Yeah.
How did the progress go?
You're talking about on the house, the Nauvoo house and the temple?
Yeah.
It's interesting that neither one was completely finished.
So here it goes. It says, due to the saints' impoverished conditions and the press of building a new city, both the temple and the Nauvoo house progressed slowly. The two buildings competed for the same labor and material resources, and both projects lagged. Ultimately, in the fall of 1845, which was after the prophet's martyrdom, when it was clear that the saints' time in Nauvoo was limited, it became necessary to favor the completion of the temple. And in a meeting on the evening of September 14th, it was reluctantly agreed to turn more force of hands to the temple, even if it had to hinder the Nauvoo house, construction and stuff.
And Emma ended up remarrying and moving into that Nauvoo house.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when
she
Nauvoo
lived there,
and Nauvoo and Hiram, when they were martyred, they had to they had to secretly hide them somewhere, because they were afraid of the mobs, and they actually got put in that basement Nauvoo house until but yeah, it's been nicknamed as Nauvoo's temple as Joseph's temple and Salt Lake temple as Brigham's. You got Joseph and Brigham, they loved each other so much. And another fun fact, Angel Moroni, what direction does it face? East. Or all of them faced east?
No, I don't think so. I think it matters where it's sitting. I think if it's
there's only like one or two.
There's only one.
One.
Well, one that I know of is Nauvoo. Nauvoo, Angel Moroni is facing west. The actual
that's right.
Facing the Salt Lake Temple, Angel Moroni. And it's just kind of, the President Hinckley said it's more of a just a love between Joseph and Brigham.
And two, that's in the west, what is the west? That's where the sun, what?
The New World
sets.
What are you talking about? That's where the sun sets. Right. Joseph Smith's life was over. I've heard that too, and I don't know where or what. I'm not making that up, but I did hear that too. Why it points to the west, because that was sort of the end of a couple of things. One is it was the end of the saints in the east. They had to move to the west, so it's pointed west. And the other is because it's set on Joseph's life. That was his life mortality.
And then you had saints in the west, and now you got saints in the south.
Saints in the south. I mean, what's up? Tallahassee Temple is pointed south.
Is that north?
Well, that's where it started. Saints in the north, right?
That's right on Five Mile.
New York.
Now it's all covered. All around the world now.
Hey,
but that whole thing with the Moroni Point West, I don't know that that's doctrine. I'm just saying that's things that I've heard, things that could symbolize and things. But
President Hinckley did say what he did say at the dedication, or at that time period he was there in Nauvoo. He did say, he said it was
and that was and to clarify, obviously the original Nauvoo temple didn't have a Moroni on top.
It did.
Yes,
but it was different. It did.
Oh yeah, because it was the kind that looks like it's flying. I mean, like I know what you're talking about. Yeah, that's right. Okay. And so did it face west at that time?
That I'm not sure.
So that's what I'm wondering.
That I don't know, but I do know President Hinckley
probably
said,
not. I would say no.
I don't know.
I don't think so.
It would have been the first temple with a Moroni on top, right? I think.
I would think so.
The angel, or whatever.
I know President Hinckley said, I do know the reason this one painted. Actually, if I remember right, it was the only one that did pointed west, all point east.
I like that. That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, that's pretty neat.
Real quick on Nauvoo. Yeah, there's a lot we could go into Nauvoo, but they were wanting to make friends. That's part of the reason why they did a Nauvoo house. Part of the reason why they did. A lot of them were Masons. They had a Mason house, Masonic lodge, just to let other people know, hey, we want to be, we want to be somewhat, we want to be normal. We want to be citizens. We want to be welcoming. So Nauvoo flourished. They had people from Europe were migrating. I mean, that's a big deal. Right. I mean, a lot of people had to get established so they could go out west. Mm-hmm. People from Norway, England, all the European little countries there. And you know what? The time I visited, they had these super nice houses, Wilford Woodruff, Brigham Young. But you know what? Most of the time, these guys were in England preaching.
Yeah, they were.
They were preaching. Yeah. So they didn't live because I was thinking, man, these are pretty nice houses.
Yeah.
But you start to, learn, they didn't
really
working. Spend much time there. They were working.
They were out. Their families
for sure. Taken care of. They were, but Nauvoo had to get established. It was a super cool, welcoming, nice town. And again, it was getting fast growing.
They were kind of setting it up. This is how this, because in the beginning of the section, in that Revelation, the point is made about, talking about, he actually specifically calls out the governor, mm-hmm. right? Saying that basically you'll allow us to flourish and to build, as we should. He calls out the president-elect at the time. In there, which
he does.
Fun fact: who was the president-elect? I looked it up. John Tyler.
Yeah. Okay.
Don't mean anything, but John Tyler.
So I do know during that time, a vice president or maybe president, who's the one after it, made a visit to Nauvoo and stayed in the. There's so many houses. Nauvoo House. I think there was a mansion.
Right.
anyway, they stayed like overnight.
Okay.
Joseph Smith welcomed them. And
Right.
I can't remember. We'll have to.
I like the fact. Just quickly, I think we need to mention that how he talks about some of these guys. He talks about Hiram. He makes Hiram a patriarch, obviously.
About old John Bennett.
John C. Bennett, which was also so what I like about this, he names several, and people can go in and read them. We don't have to read all of them. But what I like about it is that the Lord calls out their names and then says why he loves them or how much he loves them because of such and such.
Yeah, that's right.
For Hiram Smith, it was integrity. His integrity was like, I love him for his integrity. In other words, he's always doing the right thing no matter what the situation. He was always that way. And so the Lord loved him for that. But it just made me realize that we're all individuals, right? The Lord, we look at this sometimes. It's easy to look at these things as a big collective. Joseph Smith and his apostles are trying to get all this stuff done, when in reality, the Lord's working with individuals the whole time. He might be, Joseph Smith, of course, is on the center stage, obviously, at this point, because he's the prophet and everybody, he is. I mean, but in reality, there's also some guys, and I wish I had it pulled to who some of these were. So you got Hiram, you got John C. Bennett,
Lyman White.
So who talks about him? Very much.
Which I like how he gives when he's speaking of Lyman White, verse 19, he says that when he shall finish his work, I may receive him unto myself, even as I did my servant David Patton.
Yeah,
he shouts out, a little shout out to old David Patton. That's
man,
right.
That
he was
guy
the man.
Oh my goodness.
That's right. It's a reminder that we are all numbered.
Yeah.
Exactly.
One by
Once
one.
Again, it's the Oliver Granger effect.
That's right. Everybody, the Lord knows us by our names.
George Miller. Who's George Miller? Anybody know in church history? I don't. But again, verily I say unto you, my servant George Miller is without guile, and he may be trusted because of the integrity of his heart, for the love which he has to my testimony. I, the Lord, love him. Right. Who's George Miller? The Lord knows who he is. Guess what matters? That the Lord knows who he is. It don't matter if I know who he is. Right. So. That's
what I really like. Most people, most of us we're not going to be general authorities.
You don't even have to be a state. You don't even have to be a state president or a bishop to be loved by the Lord or to be considered useful by the Lord. You know what I'm saying? It does not work that way. It goes down to, like we said in the last podcast, are we choosing the Lord? Are we choosing to be called chosen? Right. You know what I mean? Are we choosing that? And so, yeah, I love that. And then you just side note, John C. Bennett, he didn't hang in there. John C. Bennett was one of the reasons, Satan used a lot of different tactics to get to Joseph Smith and try to tear the church down. But John C. Bennett, he was actually called to even be an assistant. I think he was called
assistant to the president.
Yeah, to the president in the first presidency.
Yeah, he had potential.
He had all the potential,
but there was some dishonesty and
lot of he
polygamy
actually,
was in. Polygamy started becoming a
something that was happening. And see, John C. Bennett turned it into a, what did he call it? Can't even remember. But anyway, he used it to the spiritual wives, spiritual wivery.
He was already,
and he would just go out to different women and say, hey, keep it secret. And you could have sexual relations with different women and keep it secret. And
it was,
anyway, he went way out, and then he became a big spokesman against Joseph Smith. And one of the reasons, I think, eventually why he was put in Carthage, because of some of the things he was putting out and getting people riled up against him. But anyway, so yeah, I mean, you could be highly favored and loved of the Lord, but it's us. Do we choose?
That's right.
Are we going to choose him in the end? And so John C. Bennett did not choose him in the end. And it says at the end, I like this, and his reward shall not fail if he received counsel. That's what the Lord says to John C. Bennett. And so he did not hang in there. So he did not get that blessing.
Well, I'll close with this verse here, verse 45, and I think which is a good reminder for all of us. And if my people will hearken unto my voice and unto the voice of my servants, whom I have appointed to lead my people, behold, verily I say unto you, they shall not be moved out of their place.
Yeah.
So stay strong out there. And until next time, y'all keep on striving.
From the side. Come on.